Welcome to day 16 of our Lent Readings for 2026 as we continue to follow a series on verses that every Christian should know. Today is the last reading for this week, as once again tomorrow is Sunday, so that's the day for church rather than one of these readings, and then we'll restart again on Monday. But for today we have our second reading from 2 Corinthians, where we'll be looking at a verse from chapter 3. As with previous readings, I'll read it through twice, and as it's quite short, it's quite a good one for memorising. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians 3:17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. You might be familiar with the old phrase, out of sight, out of mind. It expresses the idea that when something cannot be seen, it can easily be forgotten, neglected, or overlooked. This could cause a problem for a God we can't see. As physical creatures existing in a physical world, we use our senses to make sense of the things that are around us. Therefore, worshipping a God we can't see can sometimes be an issue. This is evident in the desire of religions to want something physical to focus on. Some might worship the things of creation, the sun, moon, or mountains. Others might make statues of rock, wood, or metal shaped as an animal or a human. Church people might focus on icons, relics, crucifixes. Secular humans might worship other secular humans by giving credit for everything to the well-educated and influential, even at times celebrities. Even the Israelites, God's people, were vulnerable to this. Just a short time after seeing the Red Sea part, while Moses was up on Mount Sinai collecting the 10 Commandments, they decided to make a golden calf to focus their worship on, saying, "Here is your God." And as we said yesterday, there is a long history of Israel running after the gods of the other nations, ones that they could see and touch, rather than the Creator who they could not see. But God is Spirit, and the commandments that Moses brought down from Sinai warn against trying to make any physical representation of him. By being in nature's spirit, he does not have the physical limitations of being in one place at one time. He is not constrained by space or time, but, to use the theological word, he is omnipresent. There is not a place that you can go that God is not. Now, having said all this, it should amaze us even more when we consider the incarnation, that God would become man. How do we reconcile that the invisible creator of the universe constrained himself to be born as a man to bring us freedom while still holding the universe together? Here is one way that I have found helpful to me when thinking about this. Consider J.R.R. Tolkien, sitting in his Oxford library, writing Lord of the Rings. Then consider, what if he wrote himself into the story? Tolkien suddenly appeared as a character in Middle-earth, alongside Frodo, Merry, Pippin, Gandalf and the rest. In doing so, Tolkien would not cease to exist in Oxford. Nor has he become any less of a person, for he can simultaneously be in both Middle-earth and Oxford, because they are not two different places if within one realm, but two different realms entirely. This helps to give a picture of how God can simultaneously be both in the manger in Bethlehem and sustaining the universe from heaven, because they are not two different places within one realm, but two different realms altogether. Middle-earth and Oxford may be two, but Tolkien remains one. The distinction between the author and the story is robust enough to retain two natures, while being fluid enough to retain one person. And this helps us to conceive something of how the God of the universe remains one at the incarnation. In a sense, God writes himself into the story of creation. So let's read once more. 2 Corinthians 3 verse 17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Amen. Till next time, have a blessed day.